Who's your emergency contact? Who should we notify in the case of death? Welcome to the USP, where I spent the last 2+ decades of my life. You know, when I was in Atwater, it was around maybe 2012, 2013. At that time, I still had maybe, in my mind, 10, 12 years left. I've been down about 12 years, 14 years. But you know, the way Atwater was, it was pretty active, you know. Like I said, when I was there, I was in 2 riots, one with the GDs and another one with the Mexicans. So every day my mentality is just living for the day, getting through 6 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night when they lock us down. You know, the prospect of me going home, it was a possibility, but it wasn't a guarantee. And I didn't want to live my life, you know, being worried about coming home or not. So the way I react to things, I didn't really, you know, put in my thought that, oh, if I do this, I'm going to get a write-up, I'm going to get in trouble, I'm going to go to the shoot. You know, I'm just reacting to the situation as it comes. And a lot of my issues that I've had while I was in the penitentiaries was just with the guards, the CO, you know. Because, you know, other inmates, they understand about respect. But when it comes to the COs, they just feel like they're above that they want you to respect them, but they don't really give it a second thought that they should respect you in return. And that's not all of them, because for the most part, a lot of COs are pretty cool. But there's always 1 or 2 dudes that are just cold-blooded piece of shit, right? And in the BOP, there's a name, Roger, the last name, Roger. Everywhere you go, every penitentiary you go, you're always going to find somebody that's related to them. And for somehow, all these motherfuckers, they all have the same mentality, right? They come in and they're just super cops doing extra shit. When I was in Atwater, I was on the hot list. The hot list is another way of saying that, you know, all my interactions, my phone calls, my mail is monitored. I'm scrutinized, you know, because they felt that I was in a position to represent the homies, and they always see me out there running a poker table. So they know I have my hands in things. So they feel like I'm part of, you know, the mover and shakers on the compound. So they're always trying to get me with something. So every month, without fail, twice a month, during lockdown, they'd come in and take my cell down. You know, call me out, strip me out, you know, make me lift up my nutsack, make me bend over, spread my butt cheeks, go into my cell, ransack it, looking for whatever they're trying to look for. But all those times they come into my cell, they never found anything, because I'm not going to keep anything in my cell. And sometimes, even though it's frustrating, but I think it's just like comical that I already know you're watching me. I already know you're on me. So what the fuck would I look like keeping shit on me, right? But but there's this dude named Roger. He's a little dude. He comes around with like 2 or 3 of his henchmen, and they're supposed to be compound officers. And compound officers is the compound, you know, walk around the compound and whatever. But they like to dip into cells. They like to dip into the unit and go shake people's cells down, go shake the unit down, just because they're bored, right? And when they came into our unit this one time, they shook down the laundry room, and they found a knife in the laundry room. So If they find a knife in your cell, they're gonna lock you up. But if they find a knife in the day room or the laundry room, that they're gonna lock the laundry room up. So, but they do that to try to get us to pit against each other, you know? Because when that happened, you got dudes crying like, man, he shouldn't be hiding his knife in the laundry room. If you ain't gonna have your knife on you, you shouldn't be having one, and so on and so on, right? But for me, it's a cat and mouse game between us and the police. I'm not gonna tell you where to hide your stash. As long as you're not hiding it in my cell, I don't give a fuck where you hide it, right? And yeah, we all use the laundry and everything like that, but still, when shit like that happens, I don't get mad at the person that hid the knife in the laundry room. My anger or frustration is toward the CO that's locking the laundry room up because he wants to punish everybody for somebody's action, right? But they do these little things to pit you against each other. It's the old saying, divide and conquer. And time again, these goofy motherfuckers fall for it, right? Like, for me, I don't carry a knife on me on my persons because everywhere I go, the COs will pull me up and shake me down because they think I'm moving dope. They think I got a bunch of freaking stamps, which is our currency or money, and just trying to get something off of me because they see me every day going out there with my poker bag, setting up my poker table, and just hustling all day. So you get these CEOs that are hoping to catch me slipping and get something off of me. But they never do because I'm not going to go out to the yard with 100 books in my bag. I'm going to pass the books that I'm using to cover the poker table with somebody else. You know, you learn to move around all the obstacles. So on this occasion, they took our laundry room. They locked our laundry room up. We got dudes crying, but they even went a step further. They came and took our microwave from us because nobody in the unit was confessing to the knife. Nobody was taking ownership of the knife, and nobody was telling the COs who the knife belonged to. So they try to punish the whole unit, try to make it in a way where there's tension so that somebody would drop a kite. Oh yeah, so-and-so was the one that left the knife in there, and so on and so forth, right? So, you know, my routine when I come off the yard, I come in, and when I come in, the dudes that work in the kitchen, they got food for me. You know, they might have raw chicken, raw pork, or raw beef, and a bag of vegetables. They know every time I come in, I buy it off of them. Every time somebody comes off the kitchen with something to sell, they go to a few people in the unit that they know is going to buy it all the time, and we were one of them. Because you know, our routine is we wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, 7:30. They call the yard move. We're out in the yard hustling all day. You know, I don't go to lunch. I might make me a coffee or a bagel, egg, and ham and spam sandwich in the morning or something to get me going. But dinner time is my leisure time. When I come in, I'll sit, I'll buy whatever they got, you know, whatever the people from the kitchen brought back. We'll go in there, prep it in the block, my cell, and then we'll come out at 4:30. We'll cook it up, you know, get down, get ready for dinner, and just watch a movie and just kick back for the rest of the night. So every time I come in, the kitchen workers, one or two of them, they always got something to sell, and I buy it. Even sometimes I don't need it because to support the hustle, right? Like really, in all the years that I spent in the penitentiary, I probably put a few kids to college with all the spending that I've done, whether it's buying, you know, narcotics or food or drink or whatever it is, because I never really put in my mindset to save any money because I didn't think I was coming home. So I'm just living day to day, and I'm making anywhere between $100 to $300 a day out there hustling on the poker table. So I spend a lot of money, right? Like if I were to sat down and calculate all my spending, it'd probably make me cry. Because if I knew that I was gonna be home today, that I was coming home, and I just saved 50% of the shit that I spent, I'd be sitting pretty right now. But I spent everything. I lived it up, and for me, it was just trying to cope with the time. I don't try to sit here and try to pretend that my mind was strong compared to other people and stuff. Because there's people in there that don't get high. There's people in there that are taking care of their families from the penitentiary through all their different hustles and stuff. I didn't have any kids, so I didn't really have any responsibility. The only responsibility was me and trying to stay alive, right? So my my routine was just getting through the day, man. So they took the mic away from us, and like I said, I like to cook every evening, and now we don't have a microwave. And there's a bunch of freaking chicken that dude named Beto just came back with. He's a Sereno. He worked in the kitchen, and he's always not in the kitchen, but in the corridor up by the lieutenant's office. So where they mop the hallways and all that stuff. So him and his homies that work in the kitchen, they're always stealing shit and bringing it back in the block. So they had a bunch of chicken for us, and it was on the weekend. So I'm trying to eat, right? I don't go to the chow hall too often. Maybe once in a blue moon, if I gotta go meet somebody up in the chow hall, I'll go through. Or if I have a call out where I gotta go to medical or something, and I'm stuck up there until they call lunch, then I'll go at lunch. But outside of that, I try to avoid the kitchen because nothing in there is worth eating. If you don't like when I tell you prison food is horrible, prison food is horrible. If nothing else, if you like to eat, don't go to prison because prison food is horrible. So for me, I enjoy, being able to get some stuff and cooking my own meal. Like I don't really know how to cook. I know not to. I know enough not to have the food be raw, and enough not to burn the food. But everything else, as far as ingredients and all that stuff, is just whatever I got in my locker, man. When I open up my locker, I have all these different seasonings that I bought from the kitchen or I bought from commissary, and I just try to mix and match until it kind of tastes like things that remind me of home. And that's one of the things, like, why I like cooking was just, you try to cook, we're all homesick. The Mexicans make burritos and tacos and tamales because those is what they ate when growing up. Dudes from the South, they make, I don't know what the hell they make, beans and I don't know what they really do, but it's just, we're always trying to associate something in there that reminds us of home. And I think in a way it's a coping mechanism. It's therapeutic to keep you from, going crazy, right? So I got all this fucking raw chicken and no way to cook it. So at lunchtime, this is on the weekends, on a Saturday, I go out to chow, and I find one of the homies, his name is Jordan. I season all the chicken up and everything, put all the vegetables in a big old bowl, and I go to Jordan. I tell him, hey man, can you put this in the microwave for 30, 40 minutes for us at a low temperature, whatever. I give him all the instructions and stuff, and I'm like, hey, on the next move, I'll come back and grab it, right? He's all right. So I passed our bucket of chicken over there to his block. He comes in with his laundry bag, takes it into the unit, and does whatever he does with it, right? So at 1:30 or 2 o'clock, there's another 10-minute move. So when they call the move, I come out to go pick up my chicken. I live in 2A, and he lived in 1A. So when I go to the door, the CO, and this dude's a cold-blooded bitch. He was a Hawaiian. I think he's an islander. I don't want to say he was Hawaiian, but he's one of them dudes that thinks he's a fucking super cop. Like, I never had any issues with going to grab something from another unit, from somebody in another block or anything. You know, the CO would just want to look at it to see that you're not passing any drugs or any weapons, and they let you go, right? They never trip on food. So when I go to the door, Jordan tried to come out with the chicken, and the CO stops him. He's like, hey, you can't bring that, you can take that shit back in. I was like, what are you doing? That's my food, man. Oh, you can't be passing food, this and that, right? You know, getting a little attitude. Like I said, at this time, when it comes to the guards, I really don't give them any leeway. Like, I really don't respect them, for one, you know, and that's not all of them. Because like I said, there's plenty of them that are cool, that mind their business, that don't bother you. Yeah, if they find a knife on you, if they find dope on you, they're gonna arrest you, lock you up, which is fine because that's just doing their job. But when it comes to like food or other things that don't have anything to do with security, with their safety, they don't care what you're doing, man. So this fucking punk at the door is not letting the homie pass the chicken out to me. So I'm like, all right, just give me that chicken. You know, I'm telling the homie Jordan, I said, man, just pass it. And he's looking at the CO. He doesn't really want to do it because he doesn't want to get in trouble. So I just step in across the metal detector, grab my bag, grab the laundry bag that got my chicken on it, and took it. And the CO said, hey, and I just walked off, right? So as I'm walking off, he's on the radio calling the compound COs. So, and that's where the dude named Roger is. He's always shaking me down and all the rest of it, you know, for whatever. So Roger and like two other COs, they come and they surround me. And they, hey man, let me get that. I said, get what? I said, it's mine. Oh, you know, you're not supposed to have, cause one, you're not supposed to have like chicken anyway, because you know they know it's stolen from the kitchen and all that. And I'm like, man, it's my food, man, it's my dinner. I'm taking this back in my block. So they surround me and are not trying to let me pass. So we have a little standoff. He's like, hey, Britt, let me get that. I said, what are you gonna do? You gonna take it from me? Because that's the only way you can get it. I'm not giving it to you. So if you want it, take it from me, right? So as I'm saying that, Bryson sees me, and you know, Bryson's a big old human being, and every guard, every inmate in Atwater know that Bryson's a bad motherfucker. So Bryson comes up, hey, what's up, bro? What's going on, bro? I said, oh, bro, they're trying to take our food right here. He goes, oh yeah. Oh, you're trying to take our food, huh? You know? So the COs are looking at each other. You know, when Bryson enters the scene, people's mentality, you know, it takes it up a little notch. I'm just a little dude. The three COs, they could have jumped me, tackled me, and restrained me. But there's not enough COs on the compound that can restrain Bryson. And they know that. So they backed up a little bit, and I just walked off and go in my block. So when I go in my block, I hand off the chicken to one of the homies. I say, hey, they're probably coming for me because I know the routine. They might not do anything right there and then because they feel they don't have the upper hand because they don't have the numbers or whatever. But best believe they're not going to allow you to you know, if they feel like they're disrespected or that you made them look bad, they're not going to let it go. They're going to go call for reinforcement. So I passed the chicken off to my homeboy Jay out of Washington. He's like, what's this? I was like, man, that's dinner. I said, enjoy it, because I'm probably going to the shoe. So I already know the routine, right? And sure enough, 2 minutes later, 10 COs coming in the block. They run in there like they're tough. Where's he at? Where's he at? Where's he at? You know, and I just, I'm watching from the corner, and they go up to the office to find out what cell I live in or whatever. So they go into my cell, shake down my cell, and they're running around the block. I'm just standing there in the day room, but I'm standing in the corner. And one of them spots me. He comes over there. Let's go. Turn around. I said, man, you ain't cuffing me up. That's a rule that we have on the compound amongst all the inmates. You don't ever let the COs cuff you up on the yard or in the unit, because everybody's walking around with a lot of enemies, and there's no telling who's plotting on you. So if you're cuffed up while you're in the public space with other inmates walking around, somebody might feel like they can take that opportunity and come and hit you, and you have no way to defend yourself because you're cuffed up behind your back. So for the most part, the COs know that too. So they don't cuff you up until they take you into the back in a secure place, and they cuff you up. So when the CO was like, hey, turn around, cuff up, I was like, man, I ain't cuffing up. We can walk over there, right? So I got about 10 COs escorting me out of the unit. We go outside. So when we go outside, here comes Bryson. I was like, hey, bro, what's going on, bro? I said, oh, these guys, they're taking me to the shoe. What? So Bryson gets in between me and the other COs. And, with Bryson, he's a man of very few words. He doesn't do the politics. He doesn't get into conversation talking about other people or anything. His thing is, bro, you deal with the politics, you just let me know when it's time to go. And that's the role he plays. That's the role that he likes. He doesn't get engaged in frivolous conversation and frivolous politics. When it's time for us to bust a move or get down or whatever, he's front and center. He loves that shit, right? So the CO, the lieutenant there, was like, "Oh, we're taking him to the shoe. Get back in your unit." And Bryson turns around and looks at the lieutenant. And he's like, "Oh, here's what? You want to go to the shoe too?" And Bryson's like, "You gonna take me to the shoe? For what?" Matter of fact, yeah, you're going to the shoe too. And Bryson turns around and faces the lieutenant. He goes, "Are you taking me to the shoe?" And at this time, I've been around Bryson for a long time, right? We were together in Lompoc in 2001. We got separated when he went back to Hawaii to fight his life sentence. He was on death row they were going to give him the death penalty when he first caught his case. He beat the death penalty, ended up with the life sentence, and in 2002, he went back to court and came back, and they played out to 25 years. And me and Bryson ran into each other again in 2008. So at this time, we've been together for about 4 or 5 years. We're cellies and all the rest. And so I got to know his personality. I'm able to, when you live with somebody, you could tell when they're pissed off. You can tell when they're excited about things, and you can read their body language. And I was really, for me, I'm pretty in tune with all the body language that goes on in my block, because it's a survival technique. You have to be aware when the tensions are thick, when shit's going on, because if you don't, you're gonna be sitting around like a sitting duck. So I see Bryson's shoulder, cocked back. I see his stance, and in my head, I'm like, damn it. Like, like at this time, we got like maybe between me and him, the both of us, we got about maybe 10, 11 years left, right? But I've already done like over 50% of my time. And, I already have an assault on a guard, and I got 8 years for it. And I'm just like, fuck. Because if Bryson swings on this lieutenant, I ain't got no choice. I'm going to swing on the guy next to him or whoever's around me, right? So when I see Bryce's body language and demeanor change, it's the calm before the storm. I step up between Bryson and the lieutenant. I say, hey, man, just let him go back to his block. And lieutenant's like, what? He's looking at me like, who the fuck are you to tell me what to do, right? And I'm trying to give the lieutenant that look, like, listen, let him go back to the block, right? And the lieutenant's a little slow. I'm trying to save this motherfucker's life, or at least his fucking jaw, right? Say, hey, man, look, I'll go to the shoe, just let him go back to the unit. And he's looking at me, and you can see his eyes open up, like recognition, like, let this dude go back to the unit before all you motherfuckers standing around us get smashed off. I mean, we're going to get the shit end of the stick at the end of the day because we're going to get a new case. Once they restrain us, they're probably going to whoop the shit out of me and all that. I understand all that. Like, I'm not worried about that. What I'm worried about is that, the action that I took by taking the food out of the block is leading up to this big-ass confrontation that the homie might catch a case, I might catch a case, and it's going to get serious real fast. So I tell the lieutenant again, I say, hey, man, just let him go to the unit. The lieutenant stares at me for a few minutes or a few seconds. Time slows down when you get into these type of situations. And thank goodness he came to his senses and was like, yeah, go back to your unit. And Bryson turns around, looks at me, like, yeah, Bryce, just go in, Bryce. I'll be back in a few weeks, just go in. So Bryce goes into the lieutenant, goes back into the unit, and they escort me and take me to the shoe. So I'm in the shoe, they finally find a cell for me and all that. And about 2 hours later, they open my door and it's Bryson, right? They bring Bryson in. Oh, what happened, bro? Because, the fuckers came back and got me, right? They went and got like 20 people to come and get Bryson, Like, people think Bryson is goofy, not goofy, but like slow, or he's just like mean, he's just like violent or whatever, but he's a very intelligent dude. But at the same time, he likes the funk. He likes the confrontation. He don't shy from it. But I was like, what happened, bro? Because they came, 20 of them came, and I just let them take me to the shoe. So they bring me and Bryson to the shoe. The following week, we go to the DHO, which is a disciplinary hearing officer. And Bryson goes in first. They dropped the shot because he didn't do nothing, They dropped the shot and they kick him out that day. But when it came to me, they ended up giving me 30 days for refusing a direct order and threatening bodily harm on the staff. I don't know where they got the threatening bodily harm on the staff from, but they were saying that because I told them the only way you can get this chicken if you take it out of my hand, which they try to say that was inciting a threat to officers, bodily injury or whatever, right? So I ended up getting 30 days for my chicken. But yeah, when I'm moving around with Bryson, I have to be real conscious that he doesn't go ham, because he's a little nuts. When somebody disrespects him, when he feels like somebody's, being disrespectful or trying to jump out there, he has no brakes, right? But me and him, we had a pretty good relationship where if I interject and put in my 2 cents about something, he's willing to listen. You know what I mean? And yeah, so like I said, in there every day, like every decision you make, man, you never know where it could lead. And sometimes, more often than I care to admit, I put myself in necessary situations because I'm stubborn or because I have, issues with the authority. I just, I just can't stand them motherfuckers talking to me in any type of way or treating me any type of way. And, and sometimes I get myself in a pretty sticky situation. But, for this particular incident, I'm really grateful that Bryson didn't break that lieutenant's jaw because I've never seen this dude hit anybody more than once. And if he would have swung on that lieutenant, all hell would have broke loose. I would have got off, but at the end of the day, we would have caught more time and they probably would have beat my brains in because that's what they do. When you put your hands on these staff members, they try to get you in that box when you're handcuffed and shackled and beat the shit out of you. Welcome to the USP.